of the movie, but at the same time, there was a parallel conversation about, is the future that Hal represents coming to pass? That's the first, sorry? That's the first scenario that I'm calling our last invention. So, you all know the story of Hal, as I said. He runs everything on the spaceship that's going to Jupiter, but more importantly, he sort of, well, he goes crazy, and he ends up killing all the human crewmen, with the exception of Dave Bowman, who escapes him at the end, and has to sort of kill him, essentially shuts him down. And this has been the kind of concern that's being represented now about AI. That AI is getting so super intelligent that it threatens us, not just our jobs, not just simply something as trivial as that, but even threatens us as a species. There are very serious people that are talking about a future, maybe even a near-term future, where technology becomes as intelligent, more intelligent than us, and they have little use for us, maybe as pets, or nothing more than that, right? So it's this sort of scenario, the robots, the technology run amok and killing us in the process. So I started becoming interested in these issues over 20 years or so ago, around the time IBM was developing Deep Blue, parallel processing computer that was pitted against the best human chess player in his own mind, the best human chess player ever, Garry Kasparov. Of course, there was a lot of press at the time. You could see what Newsweek was suggesting. This is the brain's last stand against technology. And if he loses, what could this possibly mean? Well, of course, we know what happened. In 1996, he actually beat IBM's computer. In 1997, he lost and lost badly. Now, Kasparov said over and over again, I didn't really play a computer, I was playing grandmasters, they were using the computer, it's a plot against me, so on and so on and so forth. Nevertheless, observers and others were saying, well, here it is. It's happened now. The machines have beaten us at chess. At that time, I was just starting my career as a futurist. I wrote an article about this. I wanted to try to make sense of what this represented. And one of the things I said was, this event had been the goal of computer science research since the 50s. The idea had all along been, we're going to develop a computer that's able to defeat a human player, the best human chess player. And so one could argue that this was something that had been worked on. It was bound to happen. Some would argue that it took that long, until 1997, for it to happen, but it finally did happen. What I said was, yes, we saw this happened. Does this mean that machines are now better than human beings? No. It'd be like saying, here's a machine that moves more earth than a human shoveler. Does that mean that human beings are threatened? No. Besides, I said, I won't live to see the day that a computer will defeat a human being at Go. 3 years ago. April 2016. So this is Google's DeepMind challenge. That's AlphaGo, the guy that could become super intelligent. Very smart people. Stephen Hawking before he died. I don't know how you feel about this guy, but both of them were sort of saying that this could be the end of humanity because of artificial intelligence. That once AI becomes so super intelligent, they won't have any use for us. We'll be pets, and then we won't be pets. The reason I chose this name for this scenario is James Bard's book about 3 years ago. Artificial Intelligence and the End of the Human Era. He calls it our final invention. The last thing that we will invent, our last technology. Because after that, well, we're going to be sort of on pieces. So, as a futurist, I explore possibilities. And I think this is a possibility. I don't think it's a probability. In fact, I think if I were to assign sort of a Bayesian number to it, I think it's actually fairly low probability, this scenario happening, but I think it's a possibility worth exploring. But I don't think we should immediately leap to this sort of conclusion for various reasons that I want to sort of lay out here. So that said, there are other kinds of scenarios that I think demonstrate a very different kind of relationship between AI and human beings. That's one relationship. They have no use for us any longer, and they wipe us out. The second one I'm calling autonomous capitalism. And I say that in part because in some ways AI is the sort of the logical outcome of industrial capitalism since its origins in the 18th century in England. Industrial capitalism starts in the English Midlands. It starts in the textile industry. This is what the textile industry, such as it was, looked like before machines. These are peasants, and this is them doing piecemeal work. In this case, spinning thread. The idea was they would sort of do this in their spare time. They make a little extra money on the side. They'd spin thread, and they would get piecemeal price well, they weren't factory owners, from merchants. This was a highly decentralized process and very labor-intensive, obviously. They are replaced by machines like this, or spinning frames. So, and I use this example here. So you have one person, one woman, spinning thread. You have this device. I tried to count this once. I think it's close to two dozen or so spools. This machine is spinning 2 dozen, or in other words, not just simply replacing her, but 23 others like her. This machine replaces that labor. In fact, that becomes the logic of industrial capitalism. If a machine is as good and cheaper than a human being, machine replaces human labor. And we see it repeated again and again and again over the course of 200, 250 years or so. I showed this example because I'm going to come back to it a little bit later on the talk. So that's John Kay, as you can see in the painting. He's the inventor of the fly shuttle. Or I should say, that's John Kay right there. Okay? So you're sort of gritting. You sort of understand what's happening here. He's having sort of a sheet put over him, and he's being hustled away by his friends because they fear for his life. Because this guy would like to kill him, and if he can't kill him, they'll at least try to destroy the fly shuttle. That guy's a Luddite. A real Luddite. Just like these guys are Luddites. We use the word Luddite today, I think, incorrectly. We tend to say that a Luddite is someone who just doesn't like technology or doesn't have the latest upgrade or something like that. No, real Luddites smashed up machines that they thought were threatening their job. They were correct. They were threatening their jobs. They went and smashed up the machines such that it became a crime. In fact, there were 200 pounds, over 200 pounds in the 19th century. That would have been a lot of money, right? So frame breaking was criminalized. We haven't really seen Luddites, I think, in this country for quite some time. Although I'm going to lay out a scenario, I'm going to lay out an example where I think we might see a return of Luddites. But the idea that machines, as long as they're good as humans and cheaper than humans, will replace human labor, that's something that is a movement that went well beyond the textile industry. We see it in the 20th century. You know who these young women are, these young women from the 1940s. Those are computers, right? Their job was to compute numbers, in this case, ordnance that would be sent toward Germany. The film Hidden Figures also relied on this group. Computers, one who computes in the same way that one who teaches is a teacher, one who runs is a runner, one who computes is a computer. And of course, those jobs got automated during the Second World War and immediately after with the electronic computer, a machine that does the job of human being that he or she then represents in plastic form. And AI simply doesn't have that right now. It can be programmed to do things, but again, it doesn't wake up and say, I have a vision for how I want to do this. That's the creative spark that AI simply doesn't possess. That's what we have. In fact, what we need to be thinking about in this scenario is the inventory of things that human beings still do very well and that machines can't do. Here's a list. Here's my list. These are things right now that we do that machines can't. Wonder, curiosity, inquiry, asking questions. Why this? Why that? Imagination, being able to envision the possible. Story, creativity, aesthetics, play. Human beings play. Not as adults, right? We don't, because that's not that's what kids do, right? We're serious people. We don't engage in play. Any creative person, any leading edge scientist will tell you that play is maybe the most important thing. This is what Arthur C. Clarke said, right? Let's have technological unemployment to give us more time to play. I haven't encountered yet instances of AI playing. Now, it's entirely possible that AI will develop all these sorts of capacities. It's entirely possible. But at the moment, that's not the case. They need us to imagine. They need us to create. They need us to ask questions. And that's what I mean by the interaction is going to be one of mutual benefit. There are things that AI does better than we do. There are things that we do better than AI. And it's learning to design that interface that's going to be the most important thing for the next century. Something else that human beings do right now that machines can't is make sense. What I've been doing for the last hour, I hope, is making sense of AI. It's a big part of what I do as a futurist. And indeed, it's a big part of what I do as a humanist.